2, 3, 4.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters. This is our 14th episode of the Good Morning Guys podcast. A baker's dozen plus one. Thank you for joining us on this fine morning, afternoon, evening, or night as we continue discussing the game of life amidst the other games we love to watch and play. I am one of your hosts, the one and only Brazilian mountaineer, Lucas Ham. Also with me, the judge, jury, and executioner of fake news, Patrick Novosel himself.
Hi.
Hi. Our resident renegade also joins us, who can make you laugh in 3 words or less. That is Ronnie Johantis.
Hello.
And last, but of course, certainly not least, a man with music in his heart and Doctor Who on his brain, Marc Abouche.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you for joining us. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. You are so very welcome. We are an international podcast. If it's not your first time, then you already know this, and I want to welcome you back. Bem-vindos, bienvenido, and bonjour. I don't know how they say welcome in French. So
Bienvenue.
Bienvenue.
Wow,
That's
that was the
Bumblebee
whitest.
tuna.
That was the whitest way you could say that.
Well, if you had this feed on video, you could see how white I am. I am reflecting like a mirror. Actually, I match my beige walls. You can barely see me. I'm like a chameleon.
He's clear.
It's true. Translucent. So anyways, before we get into the news, get into the fun stuff of our lives and all those good things, I wanted to make a couple shout-outs real quick to 2 of our mega listeners. I don't know if you guys are aware, but there are people out there who listen to more than 20 podcasts a week.
That's crazy.
Actually, well, no, that's not true. It's not every week. But in general, there are people actually that are listeners of our show that listen to more than 30 podcasts on a monthly basis. Some of those are weekly, some of those are bi-weekly. And those are super listener Chad Fackler and Gabe Pavao. 2 guys on opposite sides of the world. Chad's in the U.S. Gabriel is about 2 hours from me in a little town called Achibaya. Chad listens to 40 different podcasts, and Gabriel...
Crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
That is such a ridiculous amount.
And Gabriel listens to 33 podcasts. Now, he listens to less, but he listens to podcasts in multiple languages, so I'd say that keeps him right up there with Chad. He listens in Portuguese, listens in English, he listens in Swedish. I'm just kidding. He doesn't.
Man.
He doesn't do that last.
That's wild. That's really crazy. I struggle listening to an hour and a half podcast for 1 week.
Yeah, I am the same
Bravo.
exact way. I think back in the day with some of the different jobs I had, I would probably, I would sometimes commute like 30 minutes one way, and I would listen to more podcasts. But something came to my attention a couple weeks ago. I forgot to mention it last week. Did you guys know there's a little lesser-known secret, and it's actually a secret to at least Gabriel being able to listen to 33 podcasts. They listen to the speed turned up on the podcast.
What?
I've tried to do that before, and it sounds so weird. It's like you have to catch up to what they're saying, especially if you're listening to in multiple different languages. That's got to be tough to actually absorb what they're saying.
So he had mentioned it to me a couple weeks ago, and so I started to do it actually, and I can comfortably do 1.5 speed. So if someone talks in a normal cadence, it actually doesn't sound that bad, and it sounds like some of the maybe faster speakers. It's definitely not Micro Machines. But actually, I've listened to our podcast the past couple weeks in 1.5, and it actually, we kind of talk with a little slower cadence, and so it actually sounded pretty good, and I was able to get through it a little quicker. Ours can be a little more long-winded, so we have lots of good things to say,
I didn't even know you could do that. Is that
Yeah.
the podcast app on like iTunes or?
Yep. Yeah, on the podcast app on iTunes, you just go in the bottom left corner, and you can see it say 1x for 1 times, and if you touch it, it'll go to 1.5 times. Now, I will say, Gabriel told me that he listens to our podcast and other podcasts at 2 times the speed, and I will say that makes most people sound like a Micro Machine man, and it sounds really funny, and I cannot do it. But he does it, and he listens, and I'm like, how do you, like, How do you like all of a sudden they're laughing? You're like, wait, I missed the joke. There's like, I did the other day. Like I just can't imagine. Yeah, yeah, I can't imagine. But that's at least his secret to success. So I thought that was pretty cool. So if you have trouble squeezing in podcasts, the key is 1.5 times the speed. If you're really crazy, you can try 2 times the speed, but you might laugh.
If you want to be really crazy, listen to us half times.
Yeah. Then the other day.
Good morning, my brothers and sisters.
Now that's one way to make me not sound like I'm a white translucent man. That would help with that in that respect.
Yes.
In other news, shout out to 2 people who gave us written reviews this past week.
Oh, snap.
Oh,
Yeah.
my. First of all, we have Mrs. Hollywood Bones herself. The title to her review, The Laughter Guys. She said this: give them a try. You won't be disappointed. 4 great and funny guys that talk about life, work, sports, family, and games. They will definitely liven up your day and maybe give your abs a workout from laughter. Thanks, Mrs. Hollywood Bones. We appreciate the love.
Thank you, Sheila.
That wasn't
Nope.
Sheila.
Wait,
Mel.
wait,
That
no.
that was
This is Hollywood
that
Bones.
was
I'm
not,
sorry.
That was not Mama Novosel.
Melanie.
That was not Mama
Melanie.
Hollywood Bones.
Getting into a little Oedipus Rex issues. We don't need to get into that, okay?
I'm sorry.
Nah, we just lost a listener.
It's Shyla.
It's Shayla. It's Mama. Oh, man. We also got
Let
a
me
second.
try that again.
There's no point in trying it again. He's not going to edit it out. Trust me,
Yeah.
I know.
I guess not.
Nope. It's staying in there. But we love all the Novosels. Without your support, we're not sure what we would do without Patrick. Because he would not be able to do it without the support of the ladies in his life.
Exactly.
For sure. The second review comes from Sheldor 4000. He said, this is the best
Ooh,
way
Sheldor.
to start your morning. You will be hard-pressed to find a better way to start your morning. We are all going through this game we call life, and mornings can be rough, but I know for sure this podcast will put you in a good mood for the rest of the day. So good morning for many mornings to come. Aw, thanks, Sheldor.
Awesome review.
That was an awesome, well-written review.
Right.
Fantastic. So now we need 3 more written reviews, and Mark will do something crazy. So please.
Burning his house down.
Yeah. He's going to burn his house down and live in his Tartarus bookshelf for the rest of his days.
That's a no to all. Yeah, no thank you.
Only 10 reviews will get there.
That's right. Only 3 more reviews to watch it burn. Burn, baby, burn. Also, another thing, there was another thing that I had forgotten to mention that was very important is there are multiple ways for you guys to keep in contact with us. If you are not on Twitter and not on Discord, which you can join us anytime, the doors are always open for those places for you to hang out with us and talk with us. But we also have an email that you guys can email every week with questions, comments, concerns, suggestions. And it's simply thegoodmorningguys, just how it sounds and is spelled, @gmail.com. Or you can also call us by phone, calling 929-GMG-GUYS. That's 929-464-4897. Calls and restrictions may apply. Just kidding. There are no calls restrictions. You can call anytime.
Yeah, they don't have those anymore.
No, that's old news. And if you're younger than 30, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. And then the final crazy news and shout-outs I want to give is we have some holidays, and I think you're going to like them. This isn't just the month we celebrate Christmas and Christ and giving. It's also sign up for summer camp month, which apparently it's never too early to sign up for summer camp. So if you want to get in the first on the list of summer camp, it's sign up for summer camp month.
That's actually relevant to me because, I'm a youth group leader, so I'm going to need to look into signing our kids up for camp.
Yep. You let those youth group kids know.
You sign them up this early? Man, I don't do that
Dude,
stuff.
you have to.
My wife does all that. My wife does all of it, so I don't know. You sign them up in December?
Oh, you're a typical dad.
That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
2 things. Number 1, those spots fill up fast. Number 2, a lot of times those organizations have like deadlines where if you don't do it by this time, then the price goes up by X amount of dollars. So,
It's true.
yeah.
True story. Well, here it's going to be summer in about 11 days, so it might be a little late to sign up for summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still time. Also, we missed it last week, but last week was National Influenza Vaccination Week. I definitely should have done that, considering I got sick 2 weeks before. But I learned my lesson. Not really. And then finally, Happy Human Rights Day. It's Human Rights Week. So, just a little reminder. Love, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You all should have it. We all should pursue it. And we should fight for it.
See, I can get behind that holiday. I can't get behind, wear your hat backwards day. You know, it's like,
I know.
What?
Some of these are so ridiculous. I want to know who's in charge of who's the doorman for these holidays. Is like, sure, you can go by. Yeah, sign up for summer camp. That sounds like a great holiday. That's a great idea.
Wear your hat backwards
A
day.
whole
That is
month.
every day at my house.
Yeah, that's a 365
He's doing it right
day
now.
A year holiday for Mr. Ronnie Johantis. That's right. Speaking of Mr. Ronnie Johantis, let's jump into what's new with the news in our lives. Share a little bit about what's going on. Ronnie, how's it going, buddy?
It's going well, actually. I had a interesting week. So, first bit of news I have is I finished the story in Red Dead Redemption.
Ooh.
And I
good
finished
work.
the full story, so epilogue and everything. So I got to the end of the game. Right now where I am is going back and completing like a bunch of the missions that I didn't complete. So I'm trying to kind of get a lot of that done before I switch over to the online, which seems really cool. I've watched a couple of online videos about it, and it looks awesome.
Are you gonna?
Can't wait to get on there and start co-oping.
Yeah. Are you gonna work towards that 1,000 gamer score?
Probably not.
Fair enough.
Probably not. I did see. Normally, when I complete a story in a game, I would not go back and like do other missions. But like this game has just been so good. Like I don't want to miss out on any of these like cool little side missions and stuff. So I've been going back trying to complete most of those. But yeah, awesome. The game was really really good. So I was happy to get that done. I'll probably play it out for a little while longer until I jump over online. I think I might wait for Mr. Novosel over there to jump online. I think he's right behind me. Is that right, Pat?
Yeah, I'm on the second epilogue of the story. So
how many epilogues does this thing have?
That's
Spoilers.
I think there's only two epilogues.
Okay, fair enough.
And there's like I guess there's time differences between the epilogues. So
that makes sense.
It's an
right. So
epilogue.
I think it's gonna be like maybe 2 hours. I mean, I don't know how long. The first epilogue took about 2 hours. So I'm the second epilogue is gonna be the same. I don't know, but that's the last thing I got to do. But yeah, that's the end of the game was just an emotional ride. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was and like you said, Ronnie, I mean, going back through you're doing all the missions that you weren't able to do while you're completing the main story missions. And that's a testament to how good of a game is when you want to stay in the world, because there's a lot of things that I'm still coming across, even in the epilogue, that I never came across in the main game. It's absolutely crazy how much there is in the game.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily just missions. I mean, it's literally just stuff where you're just riding down a trail and stuff comes out, and it's like this whole thing. So the game itself is a testament to how good the actual game is, because I normally, once I finish a story, like I am done with the game. But this game, it's pretty much kept me interested even after the storyline is over.
So then after this, you're going to transition to Red Dead Online, right?
Yes.
And
and in the middle of that, for some reason, I bought Black Ops also, and I haven't really played that very much at all.
I think that was the wrong answer. I think you have a perfect window to spend 2 hours watching a certain movie that rhymes with.
Yeah, but I mean, if I transition online, though,
Duper ran. It rhymes with that. You know what I mean?
I think I am picking up what you're throwing down.
Yeah.
And if you're asking me if I watch Superman or not,
wait, don't tell me yet. This is the 8th time, Ronnie, that I have brought this up, and I think it's 8th time's a charm. I think you want to tell me you watched this movie. Did you not?
I do want to tell you that.
Tell me what.
But I can't.
Who's on first? Ah, I knew it. Dang it.
I would love to be able to tell you that I watched it. And
Yeah,
actually
I don't
be telling the
believe
truth.
you. You know, I really don't believe you at this point, and really, I'm just asking you for the fun of it. And we have a bet going on behind the curtain that you're not involved in to see who can bet on the highest number when you're actually going to watch this movie. So,
Is there like real money involved?
just
Because
keep-
I'll throw it out there right now.
You
If
just
anybody's
keep going.
Kicking a little bit to me, I will make sure that you win.
I'm not
No,
saying
it's-
a word.
It's no money, just Cheetos.
Oh.
Shh,
Well, if anybody's
Mark,
willing to kick in Cheetos,
Mark.
I will make sure that they win.
you were sworn to secrecy. Shush.
I didn't sign no
Conspiracy.
NDA.
Didn't sign anything.
All right. So, anyways,
So,
got some Black
other than
Ops.
Red Dead Redemption, I did get Black Ops. I've only played just a couple of games. I played like I still don't know what it's called, but they drop you into a map like PUBG style, free for all. I played a couple of those. I still haven't actually killed anybody in that game. So, yeah, first few goes not good,
It
which is
happens.
pretty much just like PUBG. I feel like it's the same exact thing. I just go in there and I get killed.
Well, maybe if you play with some other people, that might
I
be
feel like-
different.
Huh?
That's true. I feel like when we play together, like I'm a good scout man. Like, let's see if there's anybody in that building, and I'm like, no, I'll run in. 'cause
And
there's a
then
good
die.
chance- Yeah, I'll go in there to find out.
Hey
It's
guys,
better if
I'm
you
dead,
stay
but there are
alive.
3 guys in there.
Yeah, they're in there. The one's right behind the door. That's the one that killed me. But I haven't really played very much of that. It does seem like an awesome game. Like the graphics and stuff were really cool. But I also got my Sonos sound system finally.
Woo!
I actually just got it
Nice.
tonight. My buddy set it up for me, and I got the sound bar and the like sub, and this thing like rattles the entire house. Like it is incredible.
Nice.
As a matter of fact, when we first got on this video call, I asked if you guys could hear it. I'm upstairs. It's downstairs, and I have the door closed up here, and I can still hear the exact song. So
Yeah,
it is.
we could
it's
hear
pretty
it
extreme.
for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty extreme. So I'm pretty excited to get to like test that out with some games and stuff. So I haven't got to do very much with that yet. And then lastly, as some of you may have seen, I had a volleyball tournament this weekend,
Winner,
Believe it or
winner.
not.
Yeah, you did.
and I won this volleyball tournament.
Yeah,
and
you did.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of this one because so last time I played at a volleyball tournament, we didn't do very good in our pool play, so then we got put in like the lower of the groups, and then we won that, which is not really much to write home about. It's like you get put in with all the people that weren't as good, and you're just like the best one out of those people. Well, this tournament we played really well in our pool, and we got put into like the mid group. So there's low, which I would say for maybe a little bit more of like an introductory level, and then the mid is probably it's a step up from that, but the upper is basically like AVP style players. So I don't play with those guys. Like that is a completely different game with those guys. So we played into the mid level of this tournament, and we ended up winning. And we beat actually some really good teams. I was very surprised.
Nice,
Normally
man.
when I play, if I know the people that I'm playing, usually I have an idea of what I'm going to try to do to beat them. And the 2 people we were playing against in the finals are both really good players. And I remember walking out there thinking, I don't know how we're going to beat these people. And I'm still not sure how it actually happened, but we did beat them. It was really cool. It's the first time I've ever won money playing in a volleyball tournament. So
Yeah.
it was pretty,
Nice.
it was pretty neat. And I didn't even, I didn't go there expecting to win anything. So it was pretty cool. But
Well,
Congrats,
man.
For sure.
Big
Yeah,
congrats
yeah.
to you.
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, it was fun. And I am, I was telling Lucas before this, I am feeling very 31 today because I am so sore from that volleyball tournament yesterday. Like,
Been there,
and
man.
it's not just like muscle sore. Like when you get older, like your joints and everything start to hurt. Like I'm walking up the stairs, like oh my gosh, I can barely walk today. But that pretty much capped off my week. I capped it off in winning fashion, so it was it was a really good week, really good. Let's
Nice.
let's go to Mark next.
Oh snap! So yeah. Since we talked last, we definitely watched the old Game Awards, which I won't talk too much about that because it might tap into Patrick's week at a glance. But the ball kind of got thrown in my court
Yeah, it did.
to stream
Like
the Game
at
Awards.
your face.
Yes, literally at my face,
Catch,
digitally
Mark.
speaking.
Well, we were trying to stream from my computer, but in the middle of the stream, my laptop died. So
Oh,
or
man.
like it turned off. I don't think it could handle
That's a
it.
bummer.
It's a 7-year-old computer. So yeah, I don't think my computer can handle stuff like that. So Mark decided to stream instead.
So I did the best I could. Now, granted, my router is downstairs, and that was probably not the best idea to try to stream that because my internet, I'm running off Wi-Fi right now. So yeah, it was kind of jumpy from time to time, but it was still a great time watching that. And then the next day, we actually had my in-laws' church. Their pastor, my in-laws' pastor from a previous church from a long time ago, really, close spiritual mentor of theirs. Obviously, he's a pastor. They talked to him about doing this this sort of leadership retreat kind of thing for their church, and so since this pastor is very close to my in-laws, to their whole family. I went with my wife and went to the leadership retreat at my in-laws' church here. And it was great. I only went for Friday night. They actually had stuff going on Friday night and Saturday morning, but I had to work on Saturday, so couldn't go. They had like a worship service Friday night where, the pastor was speaking, and it was great. I've been sort of in a season of my life where, I'm in the leadership position a lot of times, and, ministers a lot of times need to be ministered to. Lucas, I'm sure you know a lot about that.
For sure.
And so I was feeling kind of burnt out, and so it was nice to be not the one leading worship and actually being, obviously, I'm always a part of worship, but it was nice to not be the one leading and just be the one being part of the congregation. And It was just I really felt filled up by it, by the whole thing. So I was very thankful for that. And then, of course, Sunday, we had good old-fashioned snowstorm come through here. We got 11.5 inches.
Holy smokes.
Man.
Which
Just short of a foot. So close,
That is-
yet so
that is-
far
All
away.
on Sunday?
yeah, pretty much all of Sunday, maybe a little bit into Monday, but it pretty much snowed all day from about 5:30 in the morning, Sunday morning, and pretty much went all day. So, yeah, basically, church was canceled and all that. So we stayed home, had ourselves a good old snow day, and got a chance to catch up on some things, which brings me into the gaming front, basically. So Thursday, going back to Thursday, I had a day where I had the day off from work, so I started to chip away at the backlog, and
Because you got banned from everything else.
yeah, basically, yeah.
You're welcome, by the way.
So jumped back into Spider-Man and started chipping away
Hey,
at the main
Spider-Man.
storyline on that. Yeah, Spider-Man. And actually ended up that night beating the game.
Nice.
So
Nice.
yeah. So, and we'll go more into that at a later point in this podcast.
We will.
So got that done, and then Sunday when I had the snow day, I went ahead and jumped back into God of War. And I say jump back into it. I actually started playing a couple hours of it back in August, and then I put it down. And then, obviously in between then and now, I kind of had wiped my hard drive. So I guess that save file didn't get saved in the cloud. So I started from the very beginning. And I'm very much enjoying it so far. I'm probably about, I want to say like 5 hours into it. Maybe more than that. Not sure, but I've gotten farther than I did the last time. So that's definitely awesome, and I'm kicking myself for putting this game down because it's been a lot of fun so far.
Cool.
But that is pretty much my week at a glance. Patrick, how was your week, bud?
Hello. Good. Did a couple things with the fam over the weekend. I went to this little thing at my daughter's school called Winter Wonderland. And it's at her school in the gym. They'd have like face painting. They had live acoustic Christmas music. You could make your own ornament. Making reindeer food. They had pizza and drinks. Santa was there. So all of Claire's friends were there. I get there and I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. I hang out with her for about, I don't know, 3 minutes. And then she's like, can I go be with my friends? I'm like,
Oh, right.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. Let me just sit here by myself. All right,
How
thanks.
old is she?
She's 8.
Oh, man. Sometimes it
So I guess
happens
we're
early,
to the point
man.
where she would, right? Or she wants to be with her friends more than her parents. I think the whole parent thing is not cool anymore. And yeah,
I'm sorry, buddy.
It was cool though. It was fun. She a lot of her friends were like running around in the hall, and I told her, I was like, you're not allowed to go out in the hall. And she didn't go out in the hall. She actually listened to me, which was crazy.
That never happens.
You know, like I know, right? It was like, what she comes over, she's like, my friends are out in the hall. And I was like, and you're not going out there? She's like, I'm not allowed. I'm like, all right, this is
That's
awesome.
right,
Is this the way parenting should be, where you listen to me? Oh, man. So we had a good time there. And then on Saturday, we went to Kings Island. Kings Island has this Winterfest going on there. So they decorate the entire amusement park with Christmas trees and garland and lights and everything. So that was pretty cool. It was actually like, it was below 30 degrees there. So
never mind.
It was kind of cold.
Not nice. I take it back.
But they had a lot of they had a lot of indoor stuff happening, so we could get it out of the cold. They had some rides that are on in the inside, so we were able to ride a couple rides there. And then when we got there, there was a high school choir.
Wait, real quick, you rode rides in negative 30-degree weather? Not negative 30, but below 30-degree weather?
So there is a ride that's indoors, a roller coaster that's indoors.
Yes.
So the line is indoors too. So we were able to get out of the cold, and I didn't mind standing in line for a few minutes because it was warm in there. I wasn't in the blistering cold, so it wasn't bad. But when we got there, there was a high school choir that was singing. They did like a mashup of a whole bunch of Christmas songs, and it led up to the big lighting of the Eiffel Tower. There was lights hanging from the top of the Eiffel Tower all the way to the ground. So this big, huge ceremony, which my son absolutely loved. My wife had posted a video. I didn't know she was taking a video. I thought she was just taking pictures, but she caught a video of my son just so pumped about the lights being lit, and from all the way from the top of the Eiffel Tower all the way to the bottom. So that was cool. He really liked that. They had like an ice skating rink there too. Usually there's like a water fountain little area, but they had iced that over and made it into an ice rink. So that was cool.
Nice.
And then we ran across a big, huge troll elf. I don't know. I've never seen a troll. It was just like sitting. It was huge. It was like, I don't know, 15 feet tall.
Like a real life troll elf?
It was like an animatronic troll elf. So it would sit down, and then like I guess every 10, 15 minutes it would stand up and it would tell jokes, like dad jokes.
Like dad jokes? Oh, that's awesome.
And it when it stood up, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be the deepest, like growliest voice. And it was just like, hi guys, I'm the elf. I'm like, no, that's wrong. That's totally wrong.
That's wrong.
But it was funny.
Correct.
So they had one of the jokes I haven't heard before. It was what kind of money do elves use to buy things? Jingle bills.
Wow.
My daughter thought that was hilarious. She was laughing the entire night.
She redeemed herself for bailing on you earlier when she laughed at the dad joke. Very nice.
Exactly. That was pretty much the highlights of my week on the gaming front. Played some more Overwatch. I am up to 43 loot boxes now. I should have hopefully 50 or so by the end of the week. We're chipping away at that. Hopefully I can get to 100 by the end of the year. And then I played Red Dead. Like I said earlier, I made pretty much mainline the story. I got all of the story, the side missions out of the way so I could focus on the story. And I just manned the story for maybe 4 straight hours last night. And I got all the way through the epilogue. So
nice.
I got the second epilogue to go, and should be good.
Now,
Sweet.
to backpedal back to the loot boxes.
Sure, yeah.
You're building up your loot box count until 100, and then you're going to stream the unboxing of all 100.
I am, yes.
And so what are you going to do to entertain people while they're watching you unbox this? Are you going to tell dad jokes? Are you going to give out free prizes and money or food?
He's going to get that elf, probably. Tell jokes.
Oh, yes. Invite the elf over. That would be awesome.
Yeah, we're going to co-stream with the elf. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
All the dad jokes you can handle.
That sounds
and maybe I will. Maybe I'll just download like 100 dad jokes, and every loot box I open, I tell a dad joke.
Oh, that would be awesome. Yes. Count me in. I'll be there. I'll come prepared with 25 dad jokes.
Yeah. So, that's it for me. I do have 2 real news or fake news stories.
Real news or fake news. Da, 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 da. I just made that up.
Real news or fake news? It's real news, fake news. I don't know. I want to get together some sort of music little jingle.
Real news,
Yeah.
fake news.
Yeah, we need a jingle for some Judge Dredd kind of thing, like, I've come to destroy the fake news.
Oh, real news, fake news. Sorry, you said Judge Dredd, so I went
Yes.
slow on that.
I did open that
I'm
right
open
up.
to suggestions. Okay, first one. In the PlayStation 2 startup screen, the blocks and towers represented game progress. So the more you play, the taller the towers were.
Real news.
Real news or fake news?
Real
Fake news.
It is
I'm going with real.
real news.
No, it's not progress.
That means-
it's saves. It's the number
No,
of saves
no.
you had.
So the longer you play a game, the taller the towers. The more blocks you have, that shows your save data. Meaning, everybody's PlayStation 2 startup screen was different.
Yeah. I knew about that, but I
That's-
didn't realize it was progress. I thought it was just based off your saves.
Nope.
You got me.
I was going with the same answer Mark has on the gaming.
That's smart.
All right, second one, video game related. Video game designer Shigeru Miyamoto gave Mario his mustache so players could see his nose.
Real news.
Real news.
You guys waited too long. You're wrong if you don't answer.
There was
I didn't
limited
want-
graphic
I didn't want to answer. Mark didn't
capabilities.
answer.
So, if they didn't have the mustache, you couldn't see his nose. For some reason, they couldn't draw or animate it enough. So
That
they
does
gave him a
make sense.
mustache. Yeah.
in like Pixel World, yeah, it's kind of hard to
Hey
distinguish
guys,
a nose.
give me 1
Hey.
second. I'm getting attacked by a cockroach. I'll be right back.
Oh, what a disaster.
Now
we gotta improv.
Goodness. I don't know. A cockroach attacked by a cockroach? How? Oh my gosh!
Just
Oh,
a random.
did
that
he
is a
just, like,
beatdown.
smack
We
him
can
with a
hear
shoe?
this.
Did you
We're gonna see
kill
him
him?
like we're gonna see him like fly across the screen any second.
La cucaracha, la cucaracha.
Lucas, did you just like kill it with your shoe or your sandal?
Yeah, with my sandal. I'm back.
Do they have sandals with like socks combo like attached to them already?
What do you mean? Like the
Like so you don't have to have socks. It's like you put
No.
on your sandal and the
I
socks
do
are already
that.
attached.
I do that myself. Oh my gosh, that cockroach just crawled down my shoulder and went down my leg and went down my couch and then I killed it.
Man, if I would have seen that, I would have freaked out on
Oh,
screen.
trust me, I almost freaked out.
Oh, man.
You didn't freak out at all. You're like, hold on, guys, I'll be right back.
Oh no,
Cockroach.
on the
Just
outside,
this
I can keep
cockroach.
my cool. That comes from the days
Hold
of
on, guys. A
being
bear
in the
just broke
war.
into my house. I got to kill it real fast.
Yeah, with my bare hands. So, anyways, carry on. The cockroach is dead, and I feel better. And I can't wait to tell my wife about it tomorrow because she has a phobia of cockroaches. Moving on.
Do you have a cockroach infestation?
I don't
Are there
know.
cockroaches all the
No, I don't think so. But I will say that we've lived here 4 or 5 months, and that's the second cockroach. So we see one about once every month and a half. So
That's too many.
That's probably that's definitely too many to me. The only cockroach I ever want to see is the one in Wally.
True story.
True story. Okay.
That little bug thing. Best friend.
Yeah, the cockroach, yes, the only cockroach
For
that's
the
a good
worst
cockroach.
Pixar movie on this planet. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho, I have no idea where I was. So
I think you were wrapping it up, and then we were going to go to Lucas, and then the whole cockroach thing happened. and
Yeah,
we-
you had
Yeah.
froze
finished.
all of us.
That was actually the perfect
Finished real news,
transition.
fake news.
So let me tell you what's going on in my life. Getting attacked by cockroaches. I can still feel it on my arm. It's really
highlight of my
gross.
week was getting attacked and then owning this cockroach.
Oh, I owned it. He's dead. I have to check on him every minute or so and just make sure he stays there. If he gets up, I'm definitely going to
Playing
freak
dead,
out because
playing possum.
I whacked him twice pretty hard. So
You might say things have gotten a little flat for him.
I might say, but I don't know if I would.
I don't know if anyone else will say that, but thank you for that.
Lucas,
Yes. Thanks.
how was your week?
My week was pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. On the life front, even though I got over my sickness last week, I think when we did our podcast last week, I was on the last day or so of the on my sleepy hangover. And so I don't know if this has ever happened to you guys, but when you get really sick and you just kind of shut down and you're off work and you're just kind of lazing at home and, you just kind of get into the flow, you just want to keep that flow going. And so I was sick and then I wasn't sick and I was like, you know what? I still want to be lazy a little bit. And so my week was not as productive as I wanted it to be in terms of working. But I definitely did some nice gaming, and I beat Spider-Man. I started God of
Nice,
War.
that makes two of you.
I know, right? Isn't it ironic that Marc and I both in the same week we finished Spider-Man and start God of War at the same time? I'll save the details and my reflections of both those games till we get to the topic. But on a serious note, there's some things that happened this past week that were really cool and really impactful, and they're kind of connected to what Marc mentioned earlier when he talked about how pastors and ministers and leaders in church, and I think leaders in general, can be very lonely when you're a leader, when you're a manager. Patrick, I think you would understand that too. It can be lonely at the top, and when you're leading people, when you're doing different things, you feel alone a lot of times. And I met with a pastor this past week that I had been meaning to meet with before, and unfortunately I waited a long time just because of different things. And I finally got together with him, talked with him, prayed with him, and it was just a really mutually encouraging time. And it made me realize and reminded me in the midst of my being lazy and kind of getting over being sick and not being real focused that, man, it is so important to keep the connections in your life going and being proactive. And it wasn't just with meeting with this pastor. A few weeks ago, about a month ago, I started again doing devotions and a prayer time with my wife. And I want to recommend to anybody who's a Christian, anybody who follows Christ, you gotta at least once a week set aside time with your wife, with your husband, to pray, to read the Bible one-on-one. Don't just rely on the church, your church events and different things. Don't rely on maybe a prayer time or something that you have with your kids, because every night we have a prayer time, we sing and have, read something with our kids. But I had really been slacking in proactive time with my wife. So the past month we've been doing that, and it's been really encouraging and really great. And just want to encourage anybody out there that if you're having difficulties in your marriage, kind of having difficulties connecting with your wife, pray with your wife, talk with your wife, share your heart, not just from your standpoint, but talk about God, give it to God, and it can really make a positive impact. And so that was kind of on the more serious side of things. That was what I think was really cool that happened with me this week. Other than that, I worked a little from home, and my kids also had a Christmas program this past Saturday, their first Christmas program with their new school that they're going to here in Sao Paulo. And I think it was the first time that they did a Christmas program that was like a mixture between like a choir, musical, and a play. And so the musical was really cool because it was based off of Back to the Future. It was called Back to the Manger. And
no.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
And so
more details on this?
Oh, for sure. And so how it worked was the old janitor had invented a time machine, and one of the young kids in the youth group had helped him finish and make the finishing touches on it. Back to the Future, of course. And these kids accidentally trigger the time machine, and they start going through different decades, like the 60s, the 40s, and they kind of jump around. And the whole point of it is to show one of the kids who's like not taking Christmas very seriously. He thinks it's all about the gifts, to kind of show his character progression and how he finally realizes that Christmas is about Christ, not about the gifts, not about the things you get, but the things that you can give, and the thing that God gave during Christmas season in giving His Son. But what was really cool about it, also besides the message, was the fact that all the songs that they did were Christmas. Like each decade, they would sing a Christmas song, but they would do it in the style of that time period. So like
right on.
They went to the 90s at one point, and they did a boy band version talking about the sheep, and instead of going bye bye bye, they did ba ba ba, and they did dances along with boy band stuff. It was so cool, and my kids loved it.
This sounds like the best idea in the history of ideas.
Right, and how old are these kids that are doing this? This needs to be like an adult thing.
I know, right?
It
would be so awesome if it were an adult thing. But it was all like elementary school, like kindergarten, pre-K, all the way up into fifth grade. And the fifth graders did the acting. They did a pretty good job. I mean, it wasn't like Broadway or anything like that, but at the same time, they really, you could tell they were having fun. And my kids got really into it. My son in particular, he's in kindergarten, and there was one of the songs where they gave him guitars, where it was like the rock time. I think it was the 80s. And they had the kindergartners got to have their own not air guitars, but they had their own blow-up guitars. And so at different times during the song, they would, get to do little solos and do riffs and all that stuff. It was really cool.
Nice.
So they did that on Saturday. And that was about it. Other than that, I bookended, from the last time we talked up until this week. I've continued in God of War and been loving it. And I'll give more reflection on that later. But that really just will jump us right into our topic of the week. And that's video games in 2018. Are you guys ready? All right, here we go. 2018 is about to end. We're about 21 days from the end of the year. Of course, there may be some more games we're going to play. I, for one, am definitely going to be finishing God of War and playing a few other games, maybe for some platinums, or just I have some Lego games that my kids are going to be getting for Christmas that I will definitely be playing towards the end of the year. But pretty much the year's over, guys, and I think it was a pretty good year in gaming. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I would say so. Definitely.
Pretty good.
Yeah, I methink it was one of my favorite years of my gaming career, you want to say?
All right.
Yeah, I absolutely loved this year's gaming.
Nice.
I'm still coming down off of my Red Dead high, so I would definitely say it's been awesome.
Yeah, I would say I'm actually finishing the year at the highest point, because playing through Spider-Man, playing through God of War, Ronnie finishing Red Dead, and also Patrick, I think. But the thing is it's been throughout the year. I think there have been good games throughout the year. And our discussion today is going to be a mix between two things. We're going to talk about first the official year in gaming, the year-end review. We've had some game awards this past weekend, a showcase of new indie games, as some call them, smaller games, but just, games are continuing, and so we're going to talk about that first, but then later on we're going to definitely talk about our own personal years in gaming and what we played. Some of the games, of course, we played are not from this year. Some of the games we played were from this year, so it kind of gives it two sides of the coin. So to start things out, let's talk about this past weekend, because we had some game awards. The media and the internet outlets will be waiting until January to give their games of the years, but I think with the Game Awards and now the Gamers' Choice Awards that happen on Sunday, the end-of-year discussions of Game of the Year have begun. And so, Mark, why don't you...
What happened on Sunday?
What's that?
What happened on Sunday?
The Gamers' Choice Awards. Did you not hear about that, see that?
No.
It was on CBS.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll be
during football?
It was right after football. I'll be educating you on it, so
Well,
no worries, buddy.
wait,
Yeah.
football was on all day. What are you talking
I
about?
didn't watch it
Well-
either, Patrick, so it's all right.
Yeah, I didn't watch it either, but I did my homework on it, so I did.
Okey
I did
doke.
I did the highlights.
Okay.
But let's start. Let's go in chronological order and start on Thursday. As you guys already alluded to, there were the Game Awards, and we have some results. For those that don't know what the Game Awards are, I would say that nowadays, after doing these, what has it been, like 5 or 6 years at least that they've done the Game Awards?
Something like that, yeah.
They're pretty much at this point the Academy Awards for gaming. Like, they take all the main writers, the professionals, if you were to call them, of gaming, and they bring them all and put them in a room and say, pick your game of the year, pick your favorite games, best director, best story, best shooter, best RPG, blah blah blah, blah. And they pick all of them based on their expert opinion, and then we kind of just watch, celebrate, and see. Really, I think it's always interesting to see, just like the Academy Awards, how many of the games actually match up with our personal experience. So, Mark, why don't you take it away with we'll talk about the winners, and we'll talk about our own predictions, because we all made some predictions a couple weeks ago. So, lead the way, Mark, with the Game Awards discussion.
Yeah, man. So first and foremost, hats off to Jeff Keighley. Every year, this guy is spearheading the Game Awards, and he makes it better and better every year. And it's got to be a hard thing he basically started this whole thing from scratch, and it's just gotten better. And so big hats off to him. And so, yeah, some of the ones that I mentioned last week, I'll go into those first. The biggest one being Game of the Year.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready to hear who picked what?
Yes, please.
So, Ronnie and Mark, you both picked Red Dead Redemption 2 as your Game of the Year choice. And myself and Patrick, we chose God of War. And the winner was?
God of War. God of War was the winner.
God of War.
1 for 1.
Boy.
All right.
Give me the trophy, boy.
Read it, boy.
Follow
that was
the
so
clues,
awesome.
boy.
You're all right there, boy. That was Red Dead.
Yeah, I was saying that sounded a little like Red Dead.
Honestly, like you couldn't have really gone wrong with any game in this category that was nominated. And so yeah, I'm glad of God of War won. I'm experiencing more and more of that now, and kicking myself for the fact that I sat on this game for so long. So yeah, big hats off to Sony Santa Monica and that whole crew for God
That's
of War.
good stuff.
Now, I believe the next game that we talked about was best ongoing game. Am I correct on that?
Yes. So,
Okay.
no surprise, all of us, Lucas, Patrick, Ronnie, and Mark, we all picked Fortnite. And the winner was?
Fortnite, indeed.
Yes, it
No
was.
surprise.
No brainer.
We were all right on the money for that. That game is a juggernaut, to say the least. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
For sure.
With each season they put out. And especially, I guess they just recently launched their own, Epic Games announced their own store, which I never knew they were actually doing, but they announced several games at the at the Game Awards that are part of their own store. So they're kind of gunning after Steam in that respect.
Look out.
Yeah, Fortnite, they make all the right choices.
They really do.
I mean, from the start of when it was released, it was a free-to-play game, and then continually to update the game, continually adding new content and going on with the story, and it's just absolutely crazy what they're doing with that game. I mean, I don't know if this is stepping on your toes or whatever, but one of the announcements that Fortnite made during the Game Awards is they're allowing the community to drive new content in the game. So I guess there's going to be some sort of creator where you can create like a new part of the map. And then of those creations, I guess there's going to be a panel of who is going to have their content released in the game in the real games.
That's crazy.
That is absolutely crazy. You know, like stuff like that they're doing makes people want to play this game even more.
Yeah. Speaking of that, how much of you guys actually played this game? Because I've played 0, and I will say with all these accolades and I know that I would be totally late to the game, but I kind of want to try it.
I played with Marc, I think maybe 5 or 6 matches. I was like, it's just a handful of matches. And it's not, it was in that time where Marc and I were playing PUBG like almost every night kind of thing. And I gravitate more towards the realism kind of thing more often than not. And
like
Fortnite
like Overwatch?
has that like cartoony look. What's that?
Like Overwatch?
Which is one of the exceptions. Yeah. It's
when it comes to battle royales, he goes more towards realism.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so but I it never quite gave me that hook like some other games do.
I think the biggest hurdle that a lot of people, especially if you're coming from PUBG world and then you're jumping into Fortnite, which is exactly what we did, is the whole building mechanic that sort of sets itself apart, and the fact that it's become this like, in order to build up a great defense for the game, you need to know how to build, so I believe it was Sheldor. I played Fortnite with him one time, and he was sort of showing me, the different, you could set up the control scheme so that it's the fastest. Because obviously on the PC version of the game, like, people are like lightning quick when it comes to that kind of stuff. And so he's like, okay, this is the console control scheme where, you can set it up the fastest. And, we were practicing going through it, and that's honestly the main way that you can do that. You can get better at it is to practice and get good at it. Now, I think for a while they had like a playground version of it, where you could just like not die and just do whatever you wanted to do, and you could probably do more of that in the creative thing that they announced. But that's the biggest hurdle, honestly, is the whole building mechanic. Otherwise, it's it's a more cartoony, but it's still a fun battle royale kind of cartoony battle royale game. But yeah, that's the biggest thing that kind of turned me off from it for quite a while. But it's doing so well, and it sets itself apart from other battle royale games. So
sure does.
So finally, I think the other one I mentioned last week on the podcast was best art direction. So Lucas, what did we say about that?
Well, this is where things got interesting, because we had some could argue a 4-way split on art direction. First, we had Ronnie, who he thought God of War would get art direction. Marc, you thought that Red Dead Redemption 2 would win art direction. After after a lot of listening to your guys' talk, I settled on the Obra game. I can't remember the first part of it. Now,
Return of Obra Dinn.
Now, Pat, he unofficially split his vote because he said Madden 19 for art direction, and then he said Obra Dinn. So I kind of feel like he was trying to play 2 votes. So I'm not sure if he should get the full points.
Stuff in the ballot box, are we?
For the Battle of Obra Dinn, but that was his vote. And the winner Yeah.
Was Return of
Even though
Oberdeen.
I said Battle for Oberdeen, it's still the wrong name. It's Return of Oberdeen.
That's what I said.
Yep.
You can edit that out. Return to Oberdeen. So, Mark, what was the winner?
It was Return of Oberdeen.
I cannot believe that Return to Oberdeen won that. I've never even heard of that game, and I voted for it just for fun. And I know you did too, Patrick. We were like, sure, give it to Oberdeen.
No, I knew exactly what that game was.
You're a liar.
I saw-
Fake news. Fake news.
I saw the graphics for that game they were showing on the Game Awards. I'm like, wow, that's actually really cool.
Was it?
It really was. That was the first time I've seen it, was during the Game Awards. And it actually looked pretty nice.
What's it on? Is it on consoles? Is it on PC? Mobile?
I'm assuming Switch or PS4
Switch.
or both. I have no idea.
Yeah. That's
I'm about
crazy.
I'm about to fact check that. Stall for time.
Well, because of the split, the clear winner was me. But I will share it. I will share it with my brother Patrick, because overall he also picked all the right answers. So, congrats, Patrick. We won the first annual Game Awards predictions extravaganza.
It's PC, by the way. It's not on consoles.
Oh, that's probably why.
Man, it's a good thing I didn't know
Yeah.
about that. I wouldn't have picked it if I had known it was just PC. Master Race.
But yeah, so just some other winners here. Best game direction, the winner there was God of War. Best narrative was Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, so with that, I'm curious to know, Patrick. I haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, and I'm only halfway through God of War. When you look at, I know that maybe, I don't remember when you beat God of War, but I think you're the only one that's played and completed both. What do you think about RDR2 as being the best narrative over God of War?
Man. So in the first 3 chapters of Red Dead, I had no clue what was going on in the story, because I wouldn't do story missions. I would do a story mission, and then I'd be doing something else for 6 hours. And then I'd do another story mission, and then I would be running around doing nothing for 6 hours. So it really, the narrative for me really didn't pick up until the end of chapter 3. And after the end of chapter 3, I'm like, this story has really gotten good.
Yeah.
Like, all the stuff that was like, it was like the first 3 chapters were more like character development than anything else. And then God of War, man, having to choose between the two, because the God of War, like the son and father dynamic,
Oh man,
between Kratos and his son. I mean, that's just like,
I'm only
it was.
only a third of the way through the game, and I'm just like, this is amazing. Like the way they're developing their relationship and everything. Even though the boy gets on my nerves sometimes, and I want to just be like, you know what, you don't have to come with me. You can just stay home. I'll take the ashes to the top of the mountain, okay? And yet at the same time, like, yeah, that relationship is so cool. So far.
Yeah, so because I have a son,
Yeah.
the God of War hit me closer than the Red Dead
Gotcha.
ever did. But once I mean, like, no spoilers, but when I got to the end of Red Dead, I just like sat back on my couch and I'm like, wow, that was such a good story. Such a good story.
Yeah.
And after I had done that, I'm like, man, do I want to play this game again and just do the story missions and not do any of the side stuff anymore, just so I can get like a full streamlined story? I feel like I'm going to do that.
Really?
And that's not something I would do with God of War.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that, has me torn between both narratives.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sweet.
I think realistically, like, though, with Red Dead Redemption, like you said, is the first like few chapters of that game really is just kind of you being an outlaw and just going and doing a bunch of random outlaw things, and you are getting to learn the characters, but the storyline doesn't really, I guess, kind of like show itself until like like the 4th chapter, and then it kind of like starts to get very serious, like, because the first few chapters, like, I did story missions, but like you said, I was doing a lot of other stuff. Like, I was out trying to like get money, stuff like that, and find a better horse, like all these things, because like the storyline at that point wasn't, it hadn't really like completely reeled me in. But like when you get into the later chapters, like the storyline, it turns into you don't even want to do any more side missions. You just want to get back to the storyline because you get really involved in it.
Yeah,
Right.
and I think
Yeah,
that's
it's the
also
same thing. Yeah.
that's also I think one thing that worked against Red Dead Redemption 2 in terms of narrative is it's a true open world game. Like God of War was not a true open world. You had some freedoms. You could go to different places. It was more like a Metroid. Excuse me. It was more like a Metroidvania or something where you could go back
It was. I
Yeah.
agree.
and hit some different paths. And so that I think the perfect setup for the narrative of God of War was the format they did it. If they had done a true open world, I think that would have even taken away from some of the narrative. And so that makes sense, what you guys are saying.
Yeah. So, and one more category I was going to touch on is best score or best music. Goes to Red Dead Redemption 2 as well, which I really dug the performance that they did at the Game Awards for some of the music from Red Dead. It was really fun. I enjoyed that performance.
I really loved the Game of the Year montage they did with the orchestra. That was amazing, where they went through each game. If every game was orchestrated like that, like I could play any game. Like that's just it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, let me talk to you about a game that didn't win any awards
Spider-Man.
at the Game Awards. Freaking Spider-Man.
I know, right?
Was snubbed to death.
That was the top of my list of comments to make on that. I could not believe that.
I don't care if it's a superhero game or it's just a lot of awards people, like even gaming ones, like for some reason they snub superhero games for some reason. And this game was so well done. And I may be touching into our spoiler talk, but I won't mention spoilers at the moment. But, just this game was so well done from a narrative and a graphical standpoint, and in the gameplay, and for it to not getting any awards at all, I mean, that's just beyond messed up.
I'm not mad at them not getting any awards. I mean, so there's a lot of movies that I think are way better than the ones that win at the Academy Awards, and that's fine.
It's
I mean,
true.
like, yeah, it's totally fine. When you love a game and you really enjoy it, does it really matter if they've won? I'm sure that the publisher and the developer for Spider-Man would have liked to have won to put that on their trophy case or whatever, but they made a great game.
Yeah,
and
they did.
It shouldn't diminish that success
Oh,
that
no,
they've had with
it
Spider-Man.
It doesn't diminish that they made a great game, of course, but like, let's see, they were nominated for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like several categories, and the fact that they didn't win a single one,
Yeah.
shows just how good 2018 was.
Yeah.
With all the games that were out. I mean, like a game like Spider-Man didn't win any awards. It just shows like the games that came out in 2018 were just phenomenal.
They were. And again, like I mentioned earlier, it's the Academy Awards of gaming awards. Like, they're not going to agree with the mass. Like they did with Fortnite, I think. But in terms of like them choosing, different things, they're going to go with based on their professional quote unquote opinion. So I was a little bummed at it too, but I think you're right, Pat. When it comes down to it, we know that it's a good game, and we know that in playing multiple Spider-Mans over multiple years of PlayStations, it's the best Spider-Man game, bar none.
For sure.
Yeah. All around story,
absolutely.
Collectibles, everything that happens. But we'll talk more about that later. Okay, so the Game Awards were not just about awards, as many of us know. And to lead us into that discussion, we're going to go to our buddy Jared Orr, straight up from Akron, Ohio, on the Discord. He said, "My favorite announcement from the Game Awards was Hades from Supergiant Games. They are the developer of Bastion, Transistor, and Pyre. Hades, their new game, is an action roguelike. What were your favorite announcements from the Game Awards?" I thought this was awesome about how they went heavy on the Game Awards announcements, and definitely Jared picking Hades as one of his favorites. I would agree that that was definitely on my list of games that got my attention. I also love roguelike games. It's a roguelike game, which meaning it's a game that no matter if you die or live or what you do, you always gain some kind of experience, or you can always develop your character and try again and again and again. There's no limit to life, that kind of thing. The game is set in an isometric style, like an overhead view, and what I love most about it, it's Greek mythology, and I love Greek mythology, so this Hades game definitely has my attention. What other announcements got your attention, guys, from the Game Awards?
Well, for me, there were actually two of them that caught my eye. One of them was the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, the Black Order. It was announced. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to get a new Ultimate Alliance game. Yes. And it's on Switch. No, I don't have a Switch.
I got to get a Switch now.
Yeah, I mean, like, if that's a system seller, that's a system seller for me.
Yeah.
Is Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I had so much fun with 1 and 2. Playing those games multiple times. And
for sure.
Man,
I did too.
I just wish it wasn't exclusive to Switch.
Yeah.
It just makes me want to buy a Switch, which is not a bad thing.
And we can't hate on it
like
after we just started stopped talking about Spider-Man exclusive on PS4. We can't be like, no, that's not fair. You can't do that to us. Yeah, they can, and they did it. And they might convince me to get a Switch sooner than I planned on.
And they did.
Yep.
And then the other announcement that totally threw me was when Ed Boon, the creator of Mortal Kombat, comes out, and he looks like he's going to announce a game award, and then all of a sudden comes a trailer, not a gameplay trailer, but a trailer that the new Mortal Kombat game is coming out in April. So just a few months away.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be a huge global community event coming in January.
Yep.
And of all the games I've played over the years, there's only 2 games where I've bought every single iteration. One of them is Resident Evil throughout the entire series, and the other one has been Mortal Kombat. I have played every single Mortal Kombat game there has ever been. And yeah, this with another Mortal Kombat game coming out, yeah, I'm totally on board.
Sweet. Yeah, man, I'm down for that. Truth be told, I didn't play Mortal Kombat 10. I should probably play that now that it's on Game Pass.
Free on Game Pass.
Yeah, and that was a fun story. I played through that. I borrowed it from a friend, I think a year or 2 ago.
Nice. But yeah, it looks I'm excited.
It looks gory. It looks messy.
Yeah.
Jeez, that was
par for the course.
That was hardcore.
But yeah, for me, honestly, and I actually said this on the stream when we were watching the Game Awards, and it's just I was kind of underwhelmed by a lot of the game announcements at the Game Awards. I was like, nah. A lot of the games I wouldn't play.
Was that the sound you were making while you were watching?
Yeah, actually.
So we have proof of that on the Twitch stream.
We do. We do actually. But
it's good to know.
I will say
I'm really sad I missed it now. I'm really sad it wasn't like 1 o'clock in the morning when things were really getting good.
You can go back and watch it.
I know. I might have to do that.
But yeah, I would say the biggest announcement for me that I was excited about was Rage 2, and I'm excited about this type of game because it basically scratches my Borderlands itch while I'm waiting for Borderlands 3 to come out. I love the Borderlands games, and it's taking a long time for them to put out Borderlands 3, so Rage 2 seems very, very similar to that, and it looks awesome, in my opinion. So I'm excited for that to come out. And definitely interested to see more about Anthem. They did announce they had a new story trailer for that at the Game Awards. And then also the other thing, I personally liked when Season 2, I believe it was Season 2, of Stranger Things came out, they put out a mobile game, and it was actually really fun. I played that game, and I had a good time with it. And then they announced that they have a mobile game coming out for Season 3 of Stranger Things, which is hilarious because Season 3 of Stranger Things hasn't even come out yet.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what? How does that work? Is it like
Wait a
coming
second.
on
Is the
coming
game
out
coming
alongside it?
before? Yeah. When is that coming out?
I don't know. I don't think they announced a title or not title, a time. I don't think they announced a date for the game yet. I'm assuming if they're going to be smart about it, that it would be put out after Season 3 comes out.
When does Season 3 come out? Do you know?
I want to say that's sometime this summer is when it comes out.
Oh, right when people are going to camp?
Yep.
Okay.
Don't forget, parents, sign up your kids now for camp, or you will miss out. And
Half price.
you heard it here first, folks. Half price. Go to your pastor, go to your counselors, go to your leaders. Tell them we have half price. Just put in the keyword GMG podcast.
Tell them we sent you.
Yes, and don't give names. Just say we sent you. Just say it just like that. They won't think you're crazy at all. Well, you know, Mark.
But
go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say. I guess the only things that I was kind of like okay about were, the fact that Far Cry has a new game coming out.
Quit stealing my thunder. That was one of the ones I was really excited about. Far Cry Fallout mixing. It's like Far Cry Fallout Mad Max edition. Like it looks amazing.
Yep, absolutely. And then
that's not what it's
they're coming out
called.
with
Just in case those were wondering, it's called Far Cry
New Dawn.
New Dawn, thank you. But it looks like someone added in some Fallout characteristics, some Mad Max. They of course introduced very unique bad guys in it, and with these twin ladies that like pink, it looks pretty fun.
And then I'm actually willing to try out the remaster of, like, I guess it's a remaster. Yeah, it is. It's a remaster of Crash Team Racing.
Oh, now you're stealing another one of mine. Yes, that's my number one.
I'm sorry. I'm just gonna.
You're just gonna list
now.
all of them. You're like, I'm gonna say one. Oh wait, then there's this one. Then there's this one. Come on, man. Save me one game at least.
I'm gonna stop talking now. So Lucas, what are you in for the game announcements?
Well, like you, I'm excited about Crash Team Racing. What are you excited about Crash Team Racing, Mark?
I didn't actually get to. I don't think I have played it. I don't know what was it originally released on? Was it on the original
PS1,
PlayStation?
baby. PS1,
Okay.
And it was released like right after Crash 3. Like it was so close to Crash 3 that I'm pretty sure I bought them at the same time. And it was such a good kart racer. And when I knew this was coming. I could feel it as Patrick could say, I could feel it in my bones. I knew they were going to come out with Crash Team Racing. And when I saw that trailer, I was just like, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
They had to come out with another Crash Team Racing after the success of the trilogy. And I'm like Mark. I never played Crash Team Racing. And
so good.
Another confession, I never played Crash 1, 2, or 3 before. So the remaster was my first jump into the whole Crash trilogy.
Did you play those?
I never played them when they first came out.
But you played the Insane trilogy?
Yeah, I bought the Insane trilogy. Yeah, and I played that when it came out on PS4.
Did you think they were hard?
No, I mean, not really. I mean, I got through all 3 of them.
Nice. See, people were calling them the Dark Souls of side scrollers, and I've never thought they were that hard. Like to get the platinums, which I got all 3. Now that's the Dark Souls of gaming. Getting those platinums in those games were crazy hard. Those time trials were ridiculous. But the game itself, just to beat it, if you just have a little patience and you kind of get the feel, especially Crash 1. Crash 1 controls terribly, but as long as you kind of get in your head what the parameters are, what you need to press, when you need to press it, it's not that bad.
Yeah, not bad.
So I think it's great, though, that they come out with these remasters. They look nice. That's really what was the hard thing with the bad thing about PS1 is so many games were so ugly. And so now that they're coming out with these remasters, I'm like, yes, this is such a wonderful day and age to live in. PS4 is quickly becoming my favorite console because they have all my favorite games from the past, and they've remastered them, bringing them back to PS4, and then the new games with PS4 are amazing. So, yeah,
Definitely.
faux show. The other game I was excited about was The Outer Worlds. I don't know if you guys remember this trailer, but it was another game that was similar to Fallout. It was in space, and they had some Guardians of the Galaxy style humor with what they were doing. Like I was laughing out loud
it just
as
looks
the kids say.
Fallout in space.
Yeah,
that's just what it looks like.
But it looks like without the bugs, and the facial animations actually look decent. and it might run decently. So that's a plus.
And that game's from the creators of Fallout, right?
It's from people who worked on, I think, like, it's not the ones who worked on current Fallouts, but like Fallout 3, Fallout.
The
like it's
OG
people who,
Fallout.
Yeah, I think it's the OG Fallout people that then went on
Gotcha.
to do other things, and now they're making this game. I think it looks really good. Really good.
Sweet deal.
Sweetness. So besides the Game Awards, right after that, we got a day of a break, Friday, and then Saturday came along, and it brought us the Kinda Funny Showcase. Now, to give you backstory, the Kinda Funny Showcase was presented by Kinda Funny, the internet guys that I'm blanking on their names, but guys who used to work for IGN.
Greg Miller. And
Greg
Tim
Miller,
Geddes,
Tim
Nick
Geddes.
Scarpino.
Oh, why am I listen to these guys quite often, and I can't remember any of their names, but they decided to do these game announcements with indie games, smaller games, in light of Sony not doing their PlayStation experience. And I think it was like a month ago, 2 months ago, they started saying, hey, we're building a list of games that we're going to be announcing. And I think they ended up announcing around 69 games, which was probably on purpose, which we won't talk much more about. It was, from what I hear, a little underwhelming.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was an indie showcase. I thought it was just like a showcase of a whole bunch of new games that are going to be announced and released and so forth. I really didn't. I guess I didn't pay attention close enough. And indie games are not my style of games in the first place. So when they kept announcing game after game, I'm like, hey, you know what? This isn't up my alley. This doesn't look like something I'm going to play. But there were, I don't know, there probably maybe 5 or 6 games out of the 69 games that had been announced that actually looked interesting to me.
Yeah.
You know, like 10% of the games.
Right.
So yeah, I was not. They called it the Kinda Funny Showcase, but I was referring to it as the Kinda Funny Indie Showcase.
Yeah. Well, I felt like that before the showcase, they were saying that they were going to be smaller games, you know, and that they were going to be more indie games. And for those that don't know what an indie game is, pretty much an indie game is like a low budget movie for video games. Like sometimes one person can make the game. There are other indie games, quote unquote, that are higher budget and have a team of people making them. It doesn't mean they're bad games. It just usually they're not like big budget, like super polished, taking years to develop. Sometimes it does take years, but it was just smaller games. The only thing that really jumped out to me was the Guacamelee 2 announcement with shirtless arachnid man and Portillo, which is Greg, Game Over Greggy's dog. I thought that was just really cool. I really like the relationship that Greg has with a lot of the game developers, and like he was in Spider-Man as shirtless Spider-Man. Like they dedicated a character to him in the game, and I really love Guacamelee. I don't know if you guys have played Guacamelee 1. I haven't played Guacamelee 2 yet, but I will definitely be playing that because those games are incredible side scrollers. So
yeah, one of the 2 games that had jumped out to me was At Sundown.
Oh, okay.
It was like a hide and seek top down arena shooter looking kind of game. It looks like it's like 4-player co-op or or like 1v1 v1.
That's a lot of ones.
V1.
I started saying a 1v1. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go with it.
1v1
that was
1
cool.
1 1
1 + 2 + 2 + 2. And then the other one was Moving Out. It was like Overcooked, and you and another player control a character each, and you're like moving furniture out of the house and into like a truck. It just looked like Overwatch's animations. It looked really, really interesting. I don't know if you remember that. Anyone remembers that one?
No, I didn't see that one.
Okay. That one was cool.
Mark, did you watch? Did you catch up on any of the Kinda Funny Showcase?
I did not, honestly. And I'm probably gonna sound horrible. Just doesn't appeal to me. Honestly, like the whole Kinda Funny games and all that kind of stuff. I never really listened to them. I never really listened to them when they were on. At least Greg Miller. I don't know if the other guy was. When Greg Miller was on Podcast Beyond and all that.
Beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never really listened to that. So
You said it wrong.
Beyond. Yeah, it just wasn't really something on my radar.
Fair enough. Well, I know Ronnie's answer. He hasn't watched Superman yet, so there's no way he watched anything about Kinda Funny Showcase.
I actually did watch it.
I think the answer is or.
Fake or real news?
Yeah, cool.
The
Well, the third thing that happened this
fake
weekend, which
news, I definitely
many were not aware of or many did not pay attention to, was the Gamers' Choice Awards, which is the equivalent to the Movie or People's Choice Awards that they also have later on in the year, where they let the normal people, the common folk, vote for their favorite game. That's what they did for these Gamers' Choice Awards. I think it was on CBS. It was after an afternoon game, and many people were not aware. So, did anybody pay attention to this besides Ronnie?
No, that was like right smack in the middle of the Bengals game, so I did not have CBS on at the time.
Oh my gosh.
I was...
Or maybe I did.
Guys,
maybe that's why it wasn't.
I'm really sorry. I keep
couldn't
getting
see it.
distracted because I feel like a cockroach is touching me. So if I just
What were you doing watching the Bengals game?
yeah, that's true.
That's like to ruin my Sundays.
Yeah, that's my fault.
That's a lost cause. But anyways,
Yeah, I was aware of his existence, but yeah, I did not watch this.
all right. Well, let me give you guys a quick rundown because I think, Mark, you will be happy to hear that a certain game got some awards. So let's run down.
Oberdeen.
Let's Battle of Oberdin got nothing. Ha! Eat that, Oberdeen. Obra did not. Okay. So the Gamers Choice Awards opened with Kiss singing
What?
and playing.
What?
And actually,
No.
it was said
That's fake news.
No, that is real news. Kiss opened for the Gamers Choice Awards, and apparently they did a good job. They did.
I will be the judge
They
of that.
did well. Yeah.
They are
I actually
like
didn't
in their
watch it to see.
70s.
Hey, if Mick Jagger and the Rolling Stones can still play music, Kiss can still play music. So
That is a debatable argument for me. So
I'm gonna respectfully disagree. If you've ever visually watched Mick Jagger dance, still after all these years, it's. Oh. I think I'd rather a cockroach touch me than see Mick Jagger dance. It's awful.
I doubt it.
Yeah, you're probably right. Fake news. Fake news. You called
I'll
it.
take the
Seems
cockroach.
like an obvious choice.
All right. So besides Kiss playing at the Gamers Choice Awards, there were a number of. They did a lot of awards, and I don't even know how they fit it all in. Apparently, it was only supposed to be an hour long, but they fit
No
in a
game
lot of
announcements?
awards. No game. Maybe that's the secret. No game announcements equals more awards. So they did not announce any games, but they gave a slew of awards that I'm just going to share with you really quickly. If you guys have any comments or anything like that, feel free to chime in. Now, Ninja got 3 awards. He got Fan Favorite Esports Player of the Year, Fan Favorite Gamer Moment with Drake, and 2018 Supernova Honor, which I have no idea what that means, but he got 3 awards. So no big surprise there that people voted for Ninja. He got the most. I would say the most media focus over the course of 2018.
In addition to his win at the Game Awards.
Yeah, he also won at the Game Awards. We didn't talk about that too much, but yeah, that happened there. But there was also they did a lot of fan favorites, like on almost endless amounts. So let's see if you guys can guess real quick. I'm just going to call out a person and see if you can guess who the fan favorites were for these different categories. So
You're going to call out a person?
yeah, I'm going to call out one of you guys, and we're not going to just
okay.
talk about it a long time because there's lots of awards. Ronnie, the fan favorite for Celebrity Gamer, who do you think it was? Go.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
That's a good guess. He was actually, I think he's gotten, in not this, because this is the first annual Game Awards, but he's gotten awards in the past for being a fan favorite gamer. But it was Terry Crews from Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Nice.
9-9.
Who's in
9-9?
Crackdown 3?
Yes, and also in Crackdown 3, that's right. Fan favorite for musician gamer, Patrick.
Justin Bieber.
It's a perfect
Snoop
time to go Hanson.
Dogg. Snoop Dogg.
Snoop
It
Dogg?
was Snoop Dogg. Yeah, I know, right? That's
So
what I thought too.
in UFC 3, there was a mode where Snoop Dogg was the announcer. I don't.
Awesome.
And Lucas,
That's
I didn't
hilarious.
hear it, but I
Lucas's
knew
dad
he
like,
was a part of
that's
that.
that's about right. Yeah, that's
That sounds familiar. I've heard that before. Oh man. How about, let's see, Mark? I want you to really go deep here. Fan favorite character of the year. This is a current game. Just to give you a hint. Fan favorite character of the year. Go.
Spider-Man.
Yes, Peter Parker, Spider-Man. Yeah,
Good on
He
him.
got an award. Woohoo!
We got one.
Yeah. Patrick, fan favorite retro game. You got to go way back, buddy. Not too
Oh,
far.
Celeste?
No.
I don't know.
Oh, you know what? I see where you're going with that. You're going with retro style. So they read this as it's really fan favorite old game. Like I don't think the fans understood what retro meant. They chose Super Mario Brothers.
Bionic Commando.
No, you still didn't go back far enough. Did you hear me? It's Super Mario
Metal
Brothers.
Gear.
Yeah, that's close.
Gear.
The
See,
original
but
character.
to me, that's wrong. It should have been Super Mario Brothers 3. That is the superior Mario Brothers.
Oh, okay.
Right on
Spider
for that.
Brothers. So,
Super Spider Brothers.
Bootleg version.
All right, last fan
It's
favorite.
on that Soldier Boy game console.
Ronnie. Oh gosh, this Soldier. Oh gosh, what a joke. Ronnie, fan favorite retro character. Go.
Luigi.
Ah, so close. You picked the lesser of the Marios. It was Mario.
I thought that was too obvious.
Yeah, I know, right? It wasn't obvious enough, apparently. Some of the other awards that were maybe more current and more relevant that I think we would like. Male voice of the year was, of course, Christopher Judge as Kratos in God of War.
Nice.
Of course.
I mean, come on.
Wait, hold on.
boy.
Was Arthur Morgan from Red Dead? Was he in there too?
I think he was an option, but he was not the fan favorite. The choice. The female voice was Camilla Ludington. Do you know who she was the voice for?
Laura.
Can you guess?
Lara
Ludington. Laura. Hello, Laura. Yes, Laura Croft from Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which many I have heard on podcasts and others not enjoy, but she always does a good job.
It's on my backlog list though, so I'm gonna go through it.
Yeah. I think it's after. Is it after God of War?
It is. It is.
Is there a cockroach on my neck? Okay, no. All right. Sorry. I'm going to be doing this the rest of the night. How about the favorite streaming service? Can you guess what it was? There's so many of them.
Mixer. No. Just
YouTube streaming. Oh, wait, that got canceled. Nope, it's Twitch. And can you guess, slightly related, the gaming convention that the fans loved?
TwitchCon.
Yeah. I'm like, really? TwitchCon? All right. Fair enough.
E3 is basically dying, so
Well, that's true. It's on life support at this point. There were 17 esports categories, which I will not name any of them because guess what? We don't really care. No offense to those esport lovers out there, but that's just not our cup of tea. So they had 17 of those awards. I can't imagine sitting through all those.
Hold on
Can
a
you
second.
guess? No, go ahead.
I watch Overwatch esports. That's pretty much the only one I do watch. Did they win any of them?
They didn't have one where it was actually they had one esport gaming category, which is the next one that I was going to mention, and it was not Overwatch. Sorry about your luck. They did one of the 17 esports categories was favorite esport Overwatch player, and I have no idea who I had no idea who it was, so I skipped over it. There were 17 of those. Like they picked a bunch of games. Captain Fancy Pants. Yes, he was the favorite esports
Powder
guy.
Toast Man.
Captain.
Captain Hookface. Can you guess which game got favorite game of the year, multiplayer game of the year, esports game of the year, and battle royale game of the year?
Fort Watch.
And that's close enough. Spoken like a true 30-something-year-old. Yeah, it was Fortnite.
Where do you get the new Fort Watch?
Where do you get that Fort Watch game? That Fort Evening game. Yeah, it was Fortnite. How about most anticipated game of the year?
Last of Us 2.
Bam, 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 bam. You got it, buddy.
All right.
Last of Us 2. I'll go back to Mark for this one. It's very appropriate. What do you think Mark got the best action and best single-player experience?
Spider-Man.
You got it, buddy. Spider-Man.
Yay!
Yeah, they got their awards. They got their due. Ronnie, what do you think was the best shooter?
Call of Duty Black Ops.
Yes, you got it.
Mm.
Patrick,
Nice.
what do you think was the best VR?
Ooh, Astrobot.
Ah,
Moss.
come on.
Tetris Effect.
What
Come
is
on.
Astro?
Beat Saber.
Boo, there you go. Third time's a charm. Beat Saber, baby. Come on. I put it to you, so I thought you'd get it right.
Oh, I did. It took me a little bit. I got it.
How about this award? I thought this was probably the funniest award that I saw. Was favorite fall release game.
Madden 19.
No. Ronnie,
Does
what do you think it
August
was?
count as fall?
Great question. I'm gonna go with Spider-Man.
It was not released. Wait,
Yes, it
when
was.
was it released?
September 21st or 26th, something like that.
No. Was it that late?
Total guess by me. Didn't have any clue when it was released.
Guitar Hero.
No, it was Red Dead Redemption 2. Good try.
Man, that's why you went to me.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You guys need to understand I'm not making this hard for you.
Oh, I understand the game now.
Yeah.
Start over.
Yeah, start over. Edit
cut
this
this.
out. We'll do it all over again. They had so many. There are other awards, but I'm not. One that I thought, well, I'll say one more just because. Why not? We have all the time in the world, right? The gaming device of the year. Can you imagine what it was?
PlayStation 4.
No.
Game Boy.
PSVR.
No.
Switch.
No.
Sega Saturn.
No.
The
Crossfire.
Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy.
Why would
The
we do that
iPhone.
to the children? No. Closer, but no.
No, the Sonos bars.
Oh wow, this is.
Oh,
painful.
that is where it's at.
Is that a gaming device?
I don't know. Use it for gaming. I don't know.
All right, fair enough. It was the PC Master Race, the personal
Oh,
computer.
okay.
What?
Seriously, this is what. So these are the type of gamers that we had voting for this. PC got the gaming device of the year. So, what are you gonna do? That's just how it goes sometimes.
By the way,
So-
Lucas Spider-Man was released on September 7th, so it wasn't that.
Fair enough. Technically summer,
Yeah.
but to me, once September comes, I feel like it's fall. I don't like how seasons start towards the end of the month. I think they should start at the beginning of a month. So we'll just call it a tie.
I respect
And
that.
who was right? We were both right. We were all right, except for Patrick. He was wrong. Like, come on, man. Seriously. Beat Saber. It's always Beat Saber. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. But there were lots of other awards. You can reference those online and laugh because you won't know half of the options that were picked. It was good times. With that being said, I think it's appropriate for us to transition into our personal year in gaming, our personal review for 2018, what we played, what we didn't play, what we wish we played, the trophies we got, the games we beat, everything. We're going to go over it, maybe some of it quickly, but other parts we definitely need to hit on. Who wants to start, or do you guys even know how many games you completed this year? I'm interested to hear.
I'll start.
Go ahead, Ronnie.
I completed one game this past week.
Yeah. Yes, you
Red
did.
Dead Redemption 2.
You played a
And,
good one from what I hear.
That's really the only one I felt like I had to play this year. And within the next 21 days, I would like to maybe get a little bit of Black Ops in.
There you go.
And
Do it.
Patrick.
I beat a lot of games. I could list them because I knew we were talking about this.
You were warned.
I will only talk about the games that I platinumed.
Okay.
So, Spider-Man.
What? Wait. Do you know?
Got it.
Do you have a number for how many games you completed during the year?
A
guesstimation?
Let's see. It's got to be over 20.
All right. That's good. That's a good
But
number.
I beat Spider-Man, God of War, Detroit, Telltale's Batman Season 2, Telltale's Walking Dead Season 3. I got the Injustice 2 Platinum, which only 0.1 people.
Wow.
0.1%.
You got the Injustice 2 Platinum.
Yes, I did. Yeah, with
A
help
golf
from
clap. Golf clap for you, sir.
Jared Orr.
Nice.
All the ones that I had were online. So Jared Orr had it on PS4 as well, so he helped me get those as well.
Very nice.
I beat the Monster Jam Crush It. It was a
Oh, yeah.
monster truck
That was a
game.
PS Plus
that
game,
I
wasn't
played.
it?
No, it was like $5 and
okay.
a sale, and I'm like, oh, my son would love that. So my son and I played that together, and it was just like holding X to go, and
Nice.
then so my son could play that one.
Yeah.
So I got the platinum on that one, and then I got the Assassin's Creed Origins plat.
Nice.
So I got eight platinums this year,
Nice.
and I only have 16 overall.
Hey, you doubled.
So this year was a pretty good year in gaming for me.
Nice.
For sure.
How about you, Mark?
Sadly, for games that I've played, didn't really beat a whole lot of games this year. And that's because I just kind of fell behind and started a lot of games but didn't finish them. So
You're making up for it at the end of the year, so no worries.
Yeah.
You still got 21 days.
So I beat Spider-Man, and haven't beaten God of War yet, but I'm going to beat it before the end of the year.
So right now you're tied with Ronnie.
Yes.
Look at that, Ronnie. You're in it, buddy. You're in
Yeah,
third
Hold on a
place.
second.
race.
Mark, don't forget about A Way Out. We beat that together.
That's right, we did.
Oh,
We
Yeah,
did.
we
Never
did.
mind,
Way
Ronnie.
Out.
You're last
Oh man,
place. So close.
But I play a lot of multiplayer games, so that's why I haven't really done a whole lot of story games.
Yeah, and some of
this
those you
year.
never truly can complete them unless you get the platinum. There's like no way to really feel like you've completed. Except Way Out, that was a good one. I haven't played that, but I've heard good things.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed A Way Out. That was a fun co-op game to play with Pat. A little too much male genitalia being shown digitally for my
like
liking.
Shawshank Redemption style. Nice.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
I don't remember that at all. Must have blocked it out.
Who are you playing that with? You sure it was Patrick?
Yes, I am 100% sure it was Patrick, because I literally pointed it out, and Pat was like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!"
That's how they measure for tuxes. In prison.
Friends reference.
But no, otherwise I really enjoyed A Way Out, and obviously beat Spider-Man, and that game was awesome. So yeah, we're just talking about the games we beat, right?
Yeah, just talking about how many you beat, like maybe some of the games, that you're...
with
Oh,
or
some
without male genitalia.
Yes, please, without.
Yeah.
Thankfully,
there's no
that was the only
qualifier for
one
that.
with male genitalia. That
Alex, I'll take without for 1,000, please. Thank you.
What,
One too many.
What section are you getting these out of?
The AO section, apparently. Well, on my side of things, I'm a big, huge nerd. I can't remember when I decided to do this, but I went back. I think it was in 2013. I decided to start keeping track of all the games I've completed. And then when I discovered platinum trophies, I decided to keep track of all the games I platinumed or 100%ed. So I can tell you with confidence that over the course of my gaming history, I've completed only about 417 video games. This year, I completed 41, so I increased my number by 10%, if that's how math works. I will say that it's not my best year. Some would say calling a big nerdy year of gaming should not be called the best year, but in terms of gaming, this year wasn't my best year. My best year was actually when I got my PS4 and Vita back in 2016, and I completed 85 games and I platinumed 50 games. And 2016 was a good year. I got some good gaming in. And I worked still. I brought home the bacon, and I slept.
Put that in
I
there.
probably slept about 3 hours a night, but I still got it done. But this year, Patrick mentioned the platinums. I got 17 platinums, or 100% completed 17 games. One of them was Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain, and that took up a good chunk of 2017 and 2018 to do.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And I also did Batman, Telltale Batman. That was a good one. I also played some real stinkers that I'll talk about later that were not good and fun platinums, but I still did them because they were free on PS Plus, and they were pretty much easy platinums. And also during the year, I doubt you guys kept track of this, but I earned about 800 trophies, good old digital trophies on PlayStation.
Nice.
So, yeah. We had a question from a Mrs. Hollywood Bones, not to be confused with Mama Novosel. She had a question that's mainly geared for Pat and myself. Melanie, mother of 3 children, as I like to point out every podcast. She had a question for us that mainly applies to Pat and I in talking about our gaming experience this year. But we'll open it up for Marc and Ronnie also to expand beyond the exact focus of the question. But she had this to ask. She's like, share your best video games for playing with your kids in 2018. For Ronnie and Marc, you can just say your favorite games to play with other people or your dog. You can, if you play any games with Cisco, Marc, you can mention that. So Pat, why don't you lead us out? What were your favorite games to play with your kids this year?
I played NAC 1 and 2.
Oh.
NAC 1 was a little harder to play with. I played with my nephew and my daughter. Sometimes with my son, but he got distracted really easily. But NAC 1 was a little difficult to play co-op because when your partner died, or if player 1 died, then you had to start all over. Whereas in NAC 2, if one person dies and the other person's still living, then you can come back and continue the the level without having to restart it. But yeah, I played NAC 1 and I played NAC 2. I did that. Those are very easy games to play.
Were they really as bad as people made them out to be? Like the games media really
no, it was like
bad.
Well, it was the PlayStation 4
haters
launch game.
Yeah.
It was the launch game, and you're expecting something to be like really like AAA awesome, like something that's really going to show off the power of the new console. And I mean, if NAC 1 was that, then it's just like it was just underwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a fun game. I mean, I wouldn't play that game just by myself. It was the game that you want to play with, kids or the younger generation. So I actually enjoyed it. I didn't think it was bad. I mean, it was just like a nonsensical story, but I mean,
yeah,
we weren't really in it for the story. Like my nephew, he cares less. Could care less about cutscenes.
I mean, let's be honest.
He just wants to play.
If we talk to like a normal person on the street and try to share with them a video game story, it's mostly nonsensical anyways. Or we're just gonna laugh and be like, "What am I even saying right now?"
Yeah.
So.
But I played that, and then obviously the Monster Jam, Crush It. I play with my son. I still play that every once in a while with him. So those are two games that I played in 2018 with my kids and my nephew.
Cool. Well, with my kids, I've mentioned recently swinging around New York City as Spider-Man with my daughter and my son. They're 8 and 5 years old, and they were able to pick that up and start swinging really well. And it was just so fun. Like they were really into it. They enjoyed it. And the other one besides that would have to be playing my Nintendo and Super Nintendo Classic with them, like introducing them to the games that I played when I was their age, and them actually liking it and enjoying it and like trying to get better and be like, "Daddy, let's play Nintendo." And it was that was really cool to do this year. And shout out to my buddy Drew Manning in Ohio. He's asked a question once or twice. He's on our Discord. He actually sent me the Super Nintendo Classic. He got it for me and sent it to me, and that's how I was able to get that. So
awesome.
That was definitely my favorite. So Marc and Ronnie, how about with your kids? What's your favorite game to play?
So I can actually say somewhat of a game that I play with my kids because I am a youth group leader.
That's true. I didn't think of that connection. Good work.
Yeah. So basically the best game that I could play with my youth group and as well as any sort of family and any people who have come over casually to our house are the Jackbox games.
Yeah.
The party pack games. Those are the most accessible, and everybody has this little thing called a smartphone that, pretty much everybody has a smartphone now, so anybody can be a participant.
What's this phone that's got a high IQ?
Yes, that's the one. But
I don't know. It just came out. It's 1:00 in the morning right now, people.
Acceptable. So So yeah, the Jackbox games are always the thing I always try to introduce new people who don't really play video games at all. I try to introduce it to them because it's very much for the casual person, and obviously they're great party games. So yeah, definitely that.
Along that line, real quick, Mark, I don't know if you guys played Knowledge is Power. It was a PS Plus free game for a couple months. One of those PlayLink games where you download an app, kind of like That's You. But Knowledge is Power is actually a really fun party game where you use your phone, but it's multiple choice questions, and you also have like little power-ups, and you can do things to mess with your opponents. And even though my kids, especially my 5-year-old, doesn't understand the trivia questions, he has fun just pressing the buttons, and half the time he's right on some of his guesses. And in the game, you're like you all have like a little avatar that it's really just fun to watch, and you climb up a pyramid and get to the top and win. Of course, I destroy my family every time, but it was still fun. I think my son only cried once when he lost really badly, but besides that, overall, it's pretty fun.
Interesting.
Ronnie,
I may go ahead and download that game.
Yeah, check that out for sure. Ronnie, how about you, buddy? How about you and your kids?
I would say the game that I play with the kids, and by kids I mean my friends who are all adult males plus 30.
Well, they eat all your food and make you buy new TVs and stuff. So
actually, I will tell you, they always bring snacks. So there's that. But also, the game we have been playing recently is the newest Star Wars Battlefront, like Star Wars Battlefront 2. I got it like on a discount. We used to play the old one for the Xbox 360.
Nice.
So we transitioned to the new one, and we always battle each other out. And then, actually, like I guess recently we would I would be playing Red Dead Redemption 2, and they would be sitting there just like commenting on it because it's actually like, actually a good story to watch also. So
right.
But that's kind of what we've been into.
Cool. One of our listeners, Ash Ingram, had this question to ask. She said, during your 2018 gaming experience, what is the funniest glitch you experienced in a game? For me, it was talking to an NPC in Fallout 4. She had no head, yet she was talking. When she was done talking, she started floating into the air higher and higher. So this year, guys, did you experience any glitches in your games? Maybe some of them funny, maybe annoying? Share them.
I would say I ran into one thing in Red Dead Redemption because it's crazy some of the stuff that can happen in this game. I was in the middle of a town and I accidentally pulled my gun and shot, and then me and my horse that I was standing next to got completely ran over by like a stagecoach and killed both of us.
Nice. Some would call that a glitch. Others would call that Red Dead Redemption 2.
Real life.
Justice. Real life justice.
Okay, so, and I think Patrick would agree with me on this. Pretty much any glitch in game preview PUBG.
Those are hilarious.
Yeah, the one that I was thinking of was when we were playing a duo in PUBG, and all of a sudden I had fallen through the ground, and I'm underneath the ground. Yep. And underneath the ground, there was it was like a pool of water, like just a sea of water, and I hadn't fallen in the water yet. I was just like halfway up above the ground, halfway below the ground, and as I continued to walk, I kept getting lower and lower into below the ground until I came across like a shack. I don't know, it was probably half a mile away, and then there's like stairs underneath this shack. I have no idea, stairs that go below the ground, and I was able to launch myself up the stairs above the ground. It was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah,
it was one of the
crazy.
Funniest, but it was also one of the most annoying things that PUBG offered.
That'd have been awesome if the circle collapsed around you.
It would have been.
What what was crazy is I was able to get to that shack before the blue zone had come onto me, or onto us, and we didn't end up winning that game, but we lasted pretty long.
Yep.
And it sucked because right when you drop, I mean, that's when you loot, and I had no chance to loot. I had nothing. So being able to last, I think we were maybe in the top 10 overall in that match, but yeah, that was the most annoying glitch that happened in 2018 for me.
Yeah, I think Pat and Ronnie, you know this. Like, I just think it's hilarious. Any sort of glitch like that from PUBG, and watching, like, you'll see like the vehicles just like tripping out and just like flipping just randomly for no reason. And there was one time I could actually get in the vehicle while it was doing that, and it was just crazy. Being your first person, you're just flipping. It was just, that game was broken when it first came out.
Yeah, there was actually a time where I was playing solos, and that happened. Mm-hmm. There was just like a vehicle just like flipping by itself, and it was just like stationary, but it was just flipping and making a ton of noise. So I was pretty much, no one could hear me move, so it was actually perfect for me. Ended up getting like 3 kills around that vehicle and ended up winning the match. So that was like perfect glitch for me.
Nice.
But, yeah, that's my answer.
Cool. Well, I actually this year I did not have any glitches that I can think of, but I know I've played Fallout 4, I've played Skyrim, I've played a few games where I've hit glitches, and I don't know about you guys, but sometimes glitches are funny to laugh about when it doesn't ruin your save. When you lose like 2, 3, 4, 5 hours of gameplay after you've like played through a bunch of stuff and then you have to do it all over again because of a glitch, that is the worst. Speaking of the worst, let's take a few minutes. We're not going to focus too long on it, but were there any games that you guys played that you would consider like your bottom games of the year, games you didn't finish because you didn't like them, or games that you struggled with, or games you didn't enjoy?
Oh, I liked every single game I played this year.
Look at you.
Lies. Absolute lies.
Look at you lying to everyone. I think most of our listeners remember last week's podcast.
Oh, gosh, yeah. The Quiet Game. That was definitely
the Quiet Game.
3. All of them. All 3.
That's the game we play with our kids when we don't want them to talk. The Quiet Game.
The Quiet Man.
Let's play the Quiet Game.
Yeah, that was the worst.
Yeah, the
worst
Quiet
game.
Man.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't actually think I have one. I've only played a few games this year, and I really didn't have an issue. The only one would actually probably be PUBG because of all like the technical difficulties during that game. So
yeah, isn't it crazy how PUBG at one point during the year was like, oh, the most concurrent players and the blah, blah, blah. Like everybody was talking about how it was going to be the next big thing, and then Fortnite came out, and then every other game replicated the battle royale and replicated it better.
Right.
And now it's like considered a trash heap.
Well, it's gotten better. They've definitely improved it quite a bit. And it
they do
still
have
has,
the Joker. They have the Joker and Harley Quinn on it. So come on now.
That's
Suicide
PUBG
Squad.
Mobile though.
Oops.
But yeah, I mean they've definitely improved on it. It's gotten better, but I think it was too little, too late. It still has a hardcore following. You know, a lot of the streamers that I follow on Twitch and stuff, that they pretty much left PUBG when, you know, with Fortnite, and then when Blackout with Black Ops 4 came out, you know, they went to that. They just and that was actually one of the other announcements that they had at the Game Awards, was that they were releasing the snow map for PUBG. I believe it was called Vikendi. I believe that's what it's called.
I think it's a little too late.
Yeah, but I mean, all those streamers went back to PUBG to play the new map. So I was surprised, but yeah, it's probably a little too late, because I think Black Ops 4 has done it better. It's just vastly superior in terms of, you know, stability game wise and graphics and all that kind of stuff. So
right. So Mark, did you have any stinkers that you played this year that you couldn't bear to finish?
I can't say that I did.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't think I had any horrible ones. And even though PUBG was like annoying on a daily basis, I still kept going to play that. Like the first half of the year, that was my game. That was PUBG, right. And I think it was more for the fact that I enjoyed playing it with the people I was playing with. I enjoyed the time, but you know, I just eventually gave up on it. And then when Blackout came on the scene, I was like, yep, PUBG's dead. I said it on the podcast. PUBG is dead.
You did. You
called it. What I mean.
Yep. I think for me, there was one game we played, and actually it was us. Like, we played Friday the 13th. That was
Oh yeah, that was pretty bad.
Oh,
Yeah,
That was
that's
a
true.
bad
It was
game. If it weren't for you guys being there, I would never play that game by myself. Like, I looked at the trophy list and was like, for a split second, was like, should I try to go for these trophies? No, I'm not going to go for these trophies. Like, once we played it for, it was fun with you guys, but after a while, I was like, is this it? Like, we just run around and try not to die and get in a car, and then when you're Jason, you're doing what you're doing, and I'm like, this is, okay.
Okay. Yeah. I guess that's my stinker. And Chad Kensington. That's all I'm gonna say. Chad Kensington.
Chad Kensington, that face. I had a couple trophy games that I played, like, just for platinum trophies. Some of them I tolerated, but there was one I played called Psychopath's Mandatory Happiness. The game was as bad as the title, and I did not enjoy it. But usually I just kind of pressed buttons, and I had a trophy guide that told me what to do, so it really wasn't that bad for me, but it wasn't a very fun game. But other than that, I really enjoyed everything I played, and even when I get like the little trophies, I enjoy like that part of the game. But let's get on to the positive side of things. Let's talk about our top games of 2018. We've kind of already mentioned them, but before we jump into our picks for the year, I want to share some of our listeners' picks from Discord, from Twitter. Jared Orr said, "Here are my top 3 games. My top 3 games from 2018. Number 1 was God of War." He wrote Good of War, but he meant God of War. It's God of War.
Boy!
God of War
the good of war.
The good
It's
of
just the
War.
nice side.
It's the good of War. Yes, they hug each other and they kiss and they say, "Hey,
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
let's be friends. Why can't we be friends?" But no, he said God of War is his favorite game of all time. Number 2 is Hollow Knight. It's his favorite Metroidvania of all time. And then number 3, Red Dead Redemption 2. And he said he didn't like the game at first, but he grew to love it over time. And he really enjoyed the world that they created. Ash Ingram said, "Hey guys, my top 5 in no particular order are Fallout 4, Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas. Can you tell I'm a big Fallout fan? Ha ha ha. Skyrim and Life is Strange." And she did have a question that I think we can answer very quickly, is have you played Fallout 76 yet? If so, what are your thoughts? Thanks, guys, and have a glorious day. Ash, you have a glorious day, too. And I will say, even with the negative reviews of Fallout 76, I am sad to say, being from West Virginia, that I have not played that game yet. I hope someday to play it, but time and money are not on my side. None of you guys have played it, right?
That is correct.
No, but if
Negative.
she's into that all the Fallout games, that Fallout in Space game by
Yeah.
Obsidian, what was that game?
Ash, we recommend that.
probably
The Outer
yeah,
Worlds.
I bet she would
think.
love that. Outer Worlds, that's right.
Outer
yeah,
Worlds.
she would probably like that.
Check
one.
that out when it comes out in 2021. So, and then finally, Tim Paullin said his top 5 games were Spider-Man, Forza Horizon 4, Xbox Life, God of War, Far Cry 5, and Red Dead Redemption 2. A very fine list, Tim. So, guys, what are you can give your top 3 games of the year. They don't have to be games from this year. You can mention one game if you want. So, no pressure, Ronnie. Whatever you want to share. But what were you guys' top games of the year?
I'll go first. I'm gonna do top 3, and that is number 1 being Spider-Man. Very much enjoyed that game. Very much enjoyed the story, and just the general gameplay. Excuse me. They did the open world thing with the swinging across, the city and stuff like that in games past. But I think Insomniac really perfected it, and so yeah, I was very happy with that. Followed by, I know I haven't completed the game yet, but God of War is easily my number 2. I'm very much enjoying that game. And then Black Ops 4 for sure. I've been loving the Blackout, and I play the regular multiplayer as well. Very much a fan of that type of gameplay. So yeah.
Cool. Patrick, how about you, buddy?
So these are ranked. Number 5 is Overwatch. I know it's not this year,
That's
but
okay.
it was new to me.
It's your 2018 game.
Detroit Become Human. God
I
of
still
War
need
is
to
number
play that.
3. Spider-Man is number 2. And it was number 1 until I finished Red Dead. And then after I finished Red Dead, I'm like, that's number 1. For sure.
Dethroned.
Yeah.
Red Dead.
Honorable mentions: Beat Saber, A Way Out, and Broforce.
Nice.
Broforce.
I only have 2. The first one, to no surprise, is Red Dead Redemption 2. And the second one may come as a little bit of a shocker. That is also Red Dead Redemption 2.
Wow, it was that good. It was the poker game. It was Texas Hold'em poker within Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, that is true.
Nice. Well, for me, I'm going to go in order, starting with the lowest. I'm just doing the top 3 on my list. Number 3 was a game that was my number 1 last year, but I played it so much that it ran into it. I played it 2 full months in 2018, and that's Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain. I just love that game, and got the platinum on it, and it was worth every moment. Running those missions and doing those challenges and all that good stuff. Number 2, because of the experience I had with my brother Patrick, is Broforce. Broforce. And number 1 is Spider-Man. Now, I will say my honorable mention is God of War. I'm pretty sure God of War is going to be my number 1 by the time I get the end of it, but I don't feel like I've gotten far enough to put it in a place because I don't have the whole picture. But I'm pretty sure it'll be, if it's not number 1, it'll be number 2. But it's so far looking like the story. I'm a story guy, so it's just the story for God of War has been amazing to this point. And like Patrick alluded to, the relationship between the boy and Kratos, between Atreus and Kratos, and there's a variety of other things, and I'll share with them maybe next week. But number 1 for me is definitely Spider-Man. So we have a split between our games of the year. So I think in the spirit of 2018 and how good the games were this year, that we're going to keep that split and say that our games of the year for Good Morning Guys 2018 is Red Dead Redemption 2 and Spider-Man in no particular order, ABC order. And in honor of that, those being games of the year, we're going to have a future episode, a spoiler cast for both of those games coming up within the next week or 2. Does that sound good to you guys?
Sounds great.
Sounds good.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. So look forward to some extra episodes where they won't be as long as our normal episodes, but we will break down some spoilers, break down our favorite parts of both Spider-Man and Red Dead Redemption 2. So look forward to those in the future. With that being said, I think we've come to the close of today's episode number 14, A Baker's Dozen Plus One. Since we missed that last week, I'm so ashamed that we did not say that last week, but we got it in this week. For our last minute inspirations, our last minute thoughts, what did you have for us? Mark, tell me you got some video game music to put on the Spotify.
I didn't go
Zelda.
for the video game theme this week.
Oh,
But I may
come on!
I may put some on there. You know what? I will.
You should.
Let's change one out. I'm going with the Zelda theme for.
There you go.
Yep.
Get it in there.
So yeah, the Zelda theme. Excuse me for our video game discussion. There is. I wanted to add this to the Good Morning Guys morning playlist, which you can check out on Spotify.
Check it out. It's a
check
good
that
one.
out for sure. So I will add the Zelda theme, and in addition to that, y'all know from our discussion last week that one of my favorite bands is a band called Lifehouse. And the lead singer of that band, his name is Jason Wade. He actually started a side project, a side band, if you will, called Oswald. And their new single is called Technicolor Sky. It's a very, very chill and fun song. So I'm going to add that to the playlist. And then in honor of our discussion on that pageant that you watched, the Christmas pageant with the Back to the Future theme, I'm going to add Huey Lewis and the News' Back in Time from the Back to the Future soundtrack.
Nice.
Nice.
I approve of that decision, Mark. I love the music variety that you bring to the table, and I learned so much from you that
thank you.
I didn't know before. So thank you for your music options and that Spotify list. I have a feeling here in a year we're gonna have so many good songs on that thing that it's gonna be a hit. They're gonna make albums of the albums. The Good Morning Guys playlist album called Sid 1, Sid 2. Sid 3.
Oh, God bless you for remembering that.
All right. That's all for this Good Morning. I hope you enjoyed our gaming discussion. Feel free to, on Twitter, at the GMG Podcast, to shoot us your favorite games of 2018. You're welcome to also share some of the stinker games of 2018 if you want. Feel free to ask us any questions. Keep the conversation going. You can find us on YouTube, also on Facebook. Find us on that Discord. We like to post that link to the Discord every week, every other week, so we hope to see you on there. Don't forget, if you get a few minutes after listening, to drop us a little review, get us to 10 reviews, and see what Marc lights on fire in the future, does something crazy. He's shaking his head no, but he knows he wants to. But we look forward to talking to you guys again next Wednesday, morning or afternoon, on podcast services around the globe. And again, God bless you guys, and have a great week. Have a great day. We hope that, we can just keep inspiring one another. All right, my podcasting brothers, Pat, Marc, Ronnie, Jay, and you listeners, our friends and family, go get your good morning this week. May God bless and guide your lives as you live, work, and game. And until next week, Excelsior!
1, 2, 3, 4!
Oh, no, like a choo-choo,
That's it.
anamafu, edamamis.
And Bumblebee tuna.
I just went with good old Stanley. His memory lives on.